Many people believe that after a certain age, change becomes almost impossible. They say, "This is just who I am," or, "I am too old to learn that now." Sometimes they use the old sentence, "You cannot teach an old dog new tricks." First, you are not a dog. That is already encouraging. Second, brain science gives us a much more hopeful answer. Your brain can keep changing throughout your life. This does not mean change is always easy. It does not mean you can learn the piano on Saturday and perform in a concert on Sunday. It does not mean you can watch 3 videos about exercise and wake up with the body of an athlete. But it does mean you are not finished. Your habits can change. Your attention can improve. Your emotional reactions can become calmer. You can learn new skills and new ways of thinking, even if you have followed the same patterns for many years. The brain's ability to change is called neuroplasticity. The word sounds difficult, but the idea is simple. Your brain changes when you use it. What you repeat becomes stronger. What you stop using becomes weaker. What you practice becomes easier. That is the main lesson of this video. You are not fixed. Old patterns may be strong, but strong does not mean permanent. Part 1. The brain is still learning. For a long time, many people believed that the adult brain was mostly fixed. They thought real brain development happened during childhood, and after that, adults could learn only in a limited way. Scientists now know that this idea was wrong. The brain continues to build, strengthen, weaken, and reorganize connections throughout life. Learning changes the brain. Practice changes the brain. Experience changes the brain. Children may learn some things faster. Their brains are very flexible, especially with language and basic skills. But faster does not mean possible for children and impossible for adults. Adults learn languages, technology, music, crafts, and professional skills every day. They may need more time and repetition, but the brain still responds. A child may learn a new phone by touching every button. An adult may first ask, "Where are the instructions?" That is not failure. That is strategy. The adult brain can still change. It simply likes a clear reason, a good plan, and sometimes larger text. So remember this, change may become slower with age, but slower is not the same as stopped. Part 2. Your brain builds paths. Imagine walking through a field of tall grass. The first time you cross, it is difficult. The grass is high, the path is unclear, and you may wonder why you did not use the road. The second time is a little easier. After many walks, the grass becomes flat and a clear path appears. Soon, you can cross without thinking. Your brain works in a similar way. Every thought, action, and skill uses connections between brain cells. When you repeat the same pattern, those connections become stronger and easier to use. The first time you drive a car, everything needs attention. You think about the mirrors, pedals, road signs, and the person behind you who apparently has an urgent appointment with destiny. After years of driving, many actions become automatic. The path became stronger. The same thing happens with habits and emotional reactions. If you react with anger in the same way again and again, that path becomes easier. If you worry about the same problem every day, the worry path becomes stronger. But the good news is that calmness can also become stronger. Focus can become stronger. Patience can become stronger. Sometimes people say, "That is just my personality." Sometimes it may be personality, but sometimes it is simply a path they have walked many times. A path can feel natural because it is familiar, not because it is the only possible path. Easy does not always mean best. Automatic does not always mean permanent. Part 3. What you repeat grows. There is a famous idea in brain science. Neurons that fire together, wire together. In simple words, brain cells that often work together build stronger connections. This is how skills grow. At first, a new skill feels slow and awkward because the brain is building the road. Later, the road becomes smoother. Think about typing. At first, someone searches for every letter. Writing one sentence feels like a treasure hunt. After practice, the fingers move without much thought. The brain built the path. The same rule applies to habits. If every evening you sit on the sofa and open social media, the time, place, and action become connected. Soon, Your hand reaches for the phone before you make a decision. Your hand is not possessed. The path is simply strong. But this rule also works in your favor. If you drink water after brushing your teeth every morning, that action can become automatic. If you walk after lunch every day, lunch can begin to remind your brain to walk. The brain learns through repetition, not through promises. It does not care that you bought a beautiful notebook. It cares whether you used it. One good day does not create a strong habit, and one bad day does not destroy all your progress. The brain looks at the pattern over time. So do not ask, was I perfect today? Ask, what am I repeating? Part 4. You practice thoughts too. People understand that practice improves physical skills. Practice swimming, and you become a better swimmer. Practice cooking, and you become a better cook. But we also practice mental habits. Every time you complain, you practice complaining. Every time you search for danger, you practice finding danger. Every time you compare yourself with others, you practice comparison. But every time you return your attention to a task, you practice focus. Every time you pause before replying, you practice self-control. Every time you question an exaggerated thought, you practice clearer thinking. You do not need to blame yourself for every thought. Thoughts and feelings often appear automatically. The first reaction is not always chosen. But what you do next becomes practice. Imagine someone makes one small mistake and your first thought is, this person never does anything correctly. You can pause and ask, is that completely true? Maybe it was one mistake. Maybe you are tired. Maybe your brain turned one event into a full television series. Each time you question that reaction, you build a different path. At first, the new way may feel unnatural. Of course it feels unnatural. It is new. New does not mean wrong. It means the path still needs practice. Part 5. Old paths do not disappear quickly. When people try to change, they often expect the old habit to disappear. They say, I stopped doing this for 2 weeks. Why do I still want to do it? Because the old path is still there. Imagine using one road to work for 10 years. Then finding a better road. You can start using the new road, but the old road does not disappear. On a tired morning, you may turn toward it automatically. This is normal. The goal is not to erase the old path overnight. The goal is to use the new path more often. Each time you choose the new action, you strengthen it. Each time you avoid the old action, the old path becomes a little weaker. During stress or tiredness, old patterns may return. That does not mean you have failed. It means the brain returned to something familiar when energy was low. The correct response is not, I ruined everything. The correct response is, I noticed it. I will return to the new path. One wrong turn is not a new address. Part 6. You are not too old. Age can affect the speed of learning, but it does not remove your ability to learn. Older adults may need more repetition. They may feel less comfortable making mistakes. Children can make 20 mistakes and continue playing. Adults make one mistake and begin explaining why the whole activity was unnecessary. But adults also have advantages. They have more experience. They understand patterns. They can connect new information to old knowledge. They often have clearer reasons for learning. Think of the adult brain less like wet clay and more like firm clay. It can still change shape, but you must work with it longer. So instead of saying, I am too old, try a more accurate sentence. This may take longer, but I can improve. That sentence is honest. It does not promise magic. It promises possibility. Part 7. Start small enough. One reason people fail to change is that they begin with a plan that is too large. They decide to exercise for 1 hour, read 50 pages, stop all sugar, wake up at 5, learn a language, meditate, and reorganize the garage. By Wednesday, the brain has left the project. Big plans create excitement. Small actions create repetition. Repetition is what changes the brain. If you want to read, start with 2 pages. If you want to walk, start with 5 minutes. If you want to learn a language, begin with 5 words. If you want to write, begin with 1 paragraph. The action should be small enough that your brain cannot create a serious argument. It may say, 5 minutes is too little. But do it anyway. 5 minutes repeated is more powerful than 1 hour done once. At the beginning, the goal is not maximum performance. The goal is to build the path. Small is not weak. Small is intelligent. Part 8. Use a clear cue. The brain learns faster when an action happens in the same situation. You can use this on purpose by choosing a clear cue. After my morning coffee, I will read 1 page. After lunch, I will walk for 5 minutes. After brushing my teeth, I will prepare tomorrow's clothes. When I sit at my desk, I will work for 5 minutes before opening email. The old routine becomes the reminder for the new habit. You do not need to create a completely new life. Attach the new action to something you already do. This is easier than waiting for memory to remind you. Memory is useful, but it also forgets why you entered the kitchen. Give it help. Part 9. Make progress visible. The brain likes signs of progress. You can mark a calendar, keep a simple list, or place one small check beside each day you complete the action. Do not create a tracking system so complicated that tracking becomes your new hobby. You do not need 7 colors for graphs and a monthly meeting with yourself. A simple mark is enough. If you miss one day, continue the next day. Do not turn one empty box into a personal tragedy. A habit is built by returning, not by never missing. The strongest people are often not the people who never stop. They are the people who know how to start again quickly. Part 10. Support the brain. Your brain changes better when your body is supported. Sleep helps the brain strengthen learning and organize memory. Movement supports brain health and improves blood flow. Focused practice gives the brain a clearer signal. You do not need to become a professional athlete. Walking helps. You also do not need to practice for hours. 20 minutes of real attention can be better than 1 hour of half practice while checking messages. The best plan is simple. Practice a small amount, pay attention, repeat it often, sleep well, and move your body. This advice is not exciting enough for advertisements, but it works better than most advertisements. A 7-day test. Choose one very small action and repeat it for 7 days. After breakfast, read 1 page. After lunch, walk for 5 minutes. Before bed, write 1 sentence about the day. After sitting at your desk, work for 5 minutes before opening social media. Use the same cue and mark each day you complete it. At the end of 7 days, ask, was the action easier on day 7? Did I remember it more naturally? Did the cue begin to remind me? Did I feel less resistance? The change may be small. That is fine. You are not trying to transform your whole life in 1 week. You are proving that the brain learns from repetition and that you can guide that repetition. Final summary. Your brain can change throughout life. The scientific name is neuroplasticity, but the simple meaning is this. The brain changes when you use it. Repeated thoughts and actions build stronger paths. Old habits do not disappear immediately, but new habits can become stronger when you repeat them. Age may make some learning slower, but slower does not mean impossible. Small actions are powerful because they are easier to repeat. Clear cues help the brain remember. Visible progress helps you continue. Sleep, movement, and focused practice support learning. Remember these 3 ideas. What you repeat becomes easier. Old does not mean permanent. Small actions build big changes. You are not fixed. You are not too late. You are not finished. Your brain is still listening to what you practice. So practice something worth becoming. In the next video, we will talk about rewards, dopamine, and habits. Why does your brain keep checking the phone even when nothing interesting is there? Why do some habits feel automatic? And how can you use the reward system instead of letting every notification control your day? Until then, choose one small action and repeat it for 7 days. Do not try to impress anyone. Just build the path. Thank you for listening.